Gin was a bad choice.
Oh, I forget that you be doing that shit.
Welcome to the Civ and the Pylon. It is I, Corey, your beloved Pylon.
He can't handle his gin. It is I, Sam, the Civ.
Dude,
I've said one and only, but I'm like one in millions probably of really bad park board goalies. So
or even the wild goalie tonight, Kokkonen, giving up.
I know.
Did they ever pull him? I stopped watching.
I didn't actually watch it all. I only knew that we did so horribly because my dad sent me a text wondering about them visiting me or whatever, and he, at the beginning of it, he just put 9-1 with 2 exclamation points and question marks, and I was like, Dad, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And he goes, you're wild. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, terrible. No, that was just bad. And honestly, like,
Real bad?
it's just kind of weird because you watch them lose by a large margin to Avalanche, and then you're like, oh shit, that was terrible. I don't want to feel that again.
But then they come back 8-3, beat the shit out of that.
Yeah, we were texting that
fun
night.
Game.
And
Yeah.
I went to bed at the beginning of the third, and it was in the back of my mind. I was like, the Wild are playing great, but like,
Yeah,
if
they're gonna run it up.
If I wake up tomorrow and they lose like in a shootout, I'm not gonna be surprised. And then I wake up and it's like 8-3. It was insane. And then
Yeah.
you come into this game flying high, and you got high hopes for them, and fuck.
Nothing. No fucking bueno. I will say this. I know that you're a little higher on the team than I am, Corey, though I do think we're exciting, and I think in 2 to 4 years, we're going to be a real honest-to-God contender, especially if Eriksson Ek continues along his path and if Marco Rossi turns into something. That being said, I look at these games and we're winning because of the quality of our goaltenders. We generally have less shots. I feel like we average like low 20s every game. They outshot us tonight by an extra 13 shots. I think we play good defense and we don't give up lots of like easy shots, but I don't actually think that the Wild are as good as their record and scores suggest.
I agree. And real quick on prospects and stuff. Matthew Boldy played his first game in the NHL tonight and picked up his first goal.
Oh, for cute.
And Rossi started training. He had
He's been injured. Yeah.
he had adverse long-term effects of COVID. He had some heart shit and some lung shit, which is terrifying.
Scary. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I agree. Just this team on the power play is
they're awful.
Terrible. It's like not fun.
It's not good.
And
which is goofy because they have these explosive moments. Like you watch Greenway or Ek and Kaprizov or even, Zuccarello and they have explosive capabilities or at least potential on the power play. They're just like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's like they get on the power play and they hand the other team like their playbook. Like it's just like so terribly scripted and like uninspired.
It is. Although they got 2 goals against 2 power play goals. I think their power play is better than the first week of the season. I still think it's bad, but
I still think it's worse than the league.
It's probably the worst. I don't know. Is anything worse than Buffalo?
I honestly think we have a shittier power play than Buffalo. And I'm not speculating. I think that is a stat.
Yeah. I was just going to ask if that's a proven stat, but it sounds like you are speculating, but with an educated guess.
Worst power play in NHL 2021.
Tell me.
Oh, I'm going to a fucking game.
Are you?
Yeah.
You got them tickets.
Confirmed,
That's exciting.
Confirmed.
That's
sitting
fun.
in the 12th row.
Whoa.
Right in kind of like
core
where
ants.
the corner is.
In his pants.
Yeah.
Doing a dance. Sorry.
No, that's awesome. Against that fucking Ducks, though. So it's kind of lame, but I get to see that kid Trevor Zegras and our dude Gibson. So I'm kind of stoked.
Yeah.
Should be cool.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun. I think it'll just be nice to go to a live sporting event and
smell the ice. And just smell the ice.
Yeah. Yeah. For real though, I think it's it's my favorite sport, but just objectively, I think it is the best live sport in the world.
Absolutely. It's the most entertaining, I think. Yeah,
no question.
What?
Let me make fun of Bugstead and tell my little tale.
Oh, yeah, sure. I
just while we're talking about that game, I did. I said, Corey, we're gonna talk about me. Nick Bugstead got the brakes beat off him by somebody who I think it was his first game in the NHL.
He got jumped.
In fairness, he didn't really get jumped. He threw his glove off and then he got taken off guard. The kid had quicker hands than I think he expected. And he's not a tough guy. It's not his game. He's big, I think. So I think there was a period earlier where people thought maybe he was a tough guy, but he's not a tough guy. And it's not the end of the world. It didn't matter. It was fine. It was probably exciting for the kid. Yeah, I mean, he got the brakes beat off him. But as somebody who has also had the brakes beat off him in my only hockey fighting attempt, I commiserate. I'm sure you've heard the story, Corey, about Max beating me up.
This is not an actual hockey fight.
It was a hockey. I mean, we were on skates. It all started because I said, I have a really good friend who I go way back with, and he's a thick, tough boy. In hindsight, when I think about my L, I like to remind myself that he had 30 pounds and a slightly violent childhood on me. But Max, we were like 22 or 23, and we were like doing what 22. You know, I didn't really have any understanding of like bar life, because in my late adolescence, I just was doing heroin, and then, you know, after that I was like not, and so I got out, and I feel like not really until Chicago did I like understand what bars were like. But Max once every like 3 months would drag me out when I was living on Powderhorn, and we got drunk at like Mortimer's or somewhere fucking stupid, and I like in my impaired state on my like toxic masculine whatever was like, hey Max, you know I'd fuck you up if we ever hockey fought, right? And Max is a tough boy, but he can't fucking skate to save his life. I'm sorry, Max, if you listen to this. You're a bad skater. He was wearing my dad's skates, which are a size 14. I think Max has smaller feet than me, so he had to like stuff socks in them or whatever else, because he gave me this like really sweet smile. I think like normally he's pretty good about respecting my toxic masculine, like my like little you know, claims of toughness, but I think it was just too preposterous a statement for him. And he was like, that's just not true. So we went down to Powderhorn Park at 2 a.m. And got our skates on and like did a proper like wind up and hang on, and you know, and the first we laid out little rules. You know, you can't hit somebody when they're down. You can call it at any point because it's all love, you know. But it was like we were punching each other. And the first couple go rounds, I'm like ragdolling him a little bit because again he can't skate, but I can't really fight. And so the first like 2, I think I throw him off balance. I hit him with like one little shot and he goes down. And then the rest of the time it was just like, people who have been in and lost fights to people who know how to fight will know what I'm saying when I feel like his fist just like was magnetically attached or like drawn towards my jaw, and it just like anywhere I'd like be ducking and dodging, you know, and I'm throwing his poor like ankles around and I'm skating my ass up, and just each shot came in and like jaw, eye, whatever. We go a few rounds. It's cute. I finally call it, and you know, we hug. I spit blood out. I go home, take a nap. The next day, I had a date at Restaurant Alma with my girlfriend at the time, and those who are not from Minnesota, Alma's like, it's a really good restaurant. It's, one of the true fine dining experiences I think that Minneapolis had to offer at the time. It was before that New York fuck came there, and opened all those places that I don't think are that good. I was working at Coastal, and somebody from Coastal had called and gave them a heads up, and my girlfriend at the time was real sweet and like kind of prim and proper. She was from Madison. And I'm like, Max beat the shit out of me. I'm like really bruised, and on top of the hangover, I like my jaw's all swollen and I can't really chew. But we'd had this reservation, for like a month or two. I was like, I'm gonna fucking ball out. We're gonna spend $300, and they sit us and bring us a glass of champagne because somebody from Coastal called, and they like wheel it out, and I'm like still a little wobbly because I'm probably concussed. I remember, this is the end of the story, but I remember going to Cheers, my sweetie, at the time, and being like, wow, this is really cool, huh? And she takes a sip of champagne and like diverts her eyes and sighs a little bit and goes, your fucking eye's bleeding. But the rest of the meal was really good. And so I feel for you, Nick Bukestad. It's hard to hockey fight. I think this was just that it's hard to fight Max, but
I can see. It's so weird because he seems like such a sweet man.
He is a sweet man. I don't think Max has been in a fight in like 15 years, in fairness. But he was like, in our very soft ass crew, he was like probably the second toughest boy. He was a little hellion when he was a child.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
He was, you didn't grow up in Minneapolis, but there's like a weird, sad part of Southwest Minneapolis, which is otherwise a very affluent neighborhood. But there's like a weird, sad row house, like underbelly, and those boys were all kind of crazy. There was like 3 epic Minneapolis families who were all just like sad children from Southwest Minneapolis, from that neighborhood.
Bummer, dude.
Yeah, but he's a good boy. I still probably wouldn't fight him. Again. So my condolences, Nick Bukestad. I know what it's like.
Shit. That was a good story, Sammy. I've never been in a fight before.
Never? You've been in like shoving matches?
I have.
Yeah.
It's always,
but not for a while.
It's always like at shows.
Yeah.
When like, I don't know, when I would mosh.
That's like a different type of squabbling too, I think. There's like something kind of understood and okay about like giving a shove or an elbow.
Yeah.
Not that it's like encouraged, but I think it's, I don't
know. There was like this New Year's show at the Turf Club like forever ago, and I knocked somebody's beer out of their hand. And every time I was like just dancing and being a drunk buffoon. I wasn't even really moshing. I was like legit just drunk punk dancing, and this guy kept pushing me over. So
like a dick.
He pushes me across the whole pit, and I land on the other side, and I just like walk from the other side of the circle right to him, and I shove him back into a sea of people, and the bouncer came by.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "I don't know. This guy keeps fucking with me." And I was like, "What's your deal, man?" And the bouncer kind of gets in front of me. He's like, "You knocked my beer out of my hand." And I went to the bouncer. I was like, "If you don't mind, I'd like to stay and buy this guy a beer. And then we're just going to stand on the other side of the room from each other." And the bouncer was just like, okay.
That's a finesse, Corey.
Yeah, I don't know.
Way to go.
Yeah, it felt cool to shove him over and then buy him a beer.
I mean, it feels really good to, like, I haven't been in a ton of fights and I've won fewer, but there's a power dynamic there that's enjoyable about watching somebody's, like, you know. I get it.
What else are we going to talk about tonight?
Let's touch on the Islanders real quick. I think it's a nice trade. It's the only thing that's happened in trades in what I think is probably going to be a boring trade season. I initially told Corey we should talk about it, and he was like, let's wait till something fucking happens. But it's what we've got. The Islanders picked up Palmieri and Travis Zajac. Palmieri's a good offensive piece. I don't think he's like a singular game changer, but he scored 20-plus goals the last 5 years. I think he's got some pop, and he's got a nice shot. And I actually always liked him for the Devils. He kind of quietly rose to like very good offensive whatever status over the last few years. And they got Travis Zajac, which I don't think is a bad pickup either. He's past his prime, but he used to be a really good player. And I think he's, in the realm of like an Eric Stahl, where he still really knows the game. He was never as good as Eric Stahl, and is probably not as good as the ghost of Eric Stahl still. But if you think you're gonna win a puck or a cup, excuse me, flipped it there. If you think you're gonna win a cup, there's worse pickups you can make for what was it, a second?
No, first
and a fourth or something? A first and a fourth. Still,
a conditional
Palmieri's
fourth in 2022, and I think
Yeah.
they got no. That was a different trade. But I'm looking at their cap friendly right now, and the Devils also have the Islanders' second round pick.
Ooh.
And
I don't think they got it from that.
no, they didn't. They definitely did not. But they got a 2022 fourth, and a first round this year, which I don't know how much value.
If
that
you
has.
win a cup, that's a trade you don't regret even a little bit ever. I don't know. I don't personally think the Islanders are going to win a cup, although I hope that they do. I think that they're actually, out of the teams, I think it's possible. They're my preference. But yeah, I don't know.
No, I think
It's not a terrible trade.
yeah.
What went back? There was a first and a fourth and two AHL players.
Yeah, two prospects. Fuck, I don't have that prepped.
It's fine. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares about the fucking New Jersey Devils.
No, and I was gonna say too. I'm looking at their cap friendly. They have 9.5 in cap space, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 RFAs to re-sign. And it's kind of weird because you look.
It's getting kind of tight over there. I don't think you hang on to Kyle Palmieri. This is the right time to move him. You're not going to go anywhere this season.
No.
It's a great move for New Jersey, I think.
It is true. Yeah, I agree. They just don't have anybody on contract beyond 2024. So it's kind of
Interesting.
It's like, I just feel like this team doesn't really have like much of an identity, really. Like you have
They haven't for a while.
Miles Wood and Jack Hughes.
I like Miles Wood. I don't think he's like a great hockey player, but he is a tough young man. And I think he's indigenous as well. I think he's an indigenous Canadian man. So.
Yeah, but I don't know. The average age of the forward crew is 22. I understand that Palmieri and Zajac aren't doing you any favors by having them on your roster when you're not going to fucking win anything for like the next decade. But
Yeah.
I hope that they sign somebody that can kind of skate with the young kids and I don't know, not be in last place instead of Buffalo next year.
They don't have much in the way of bright future at the moment, but I assume that they're stockpiling like crazy. I think they'll go through that shift. They'll be fine. Also, who the fuck is... You know what, though? Have I already ranted about how the Devils are tight because they're like the only New Jersey team that admits that they're from New Jersey?
I think you have like once.
Okay. Well, it's tight. I think it's tight. I give them props for being like, yeah, We know it's not an ideal place to be from, but that's where we play, you know? Instead of the fucking Jets who are like, New York. You're like greater New York area, you might as well be from fucking Buffalo.
Right.
Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. Shit. I keep saying and people don't like that. I lied. Nico
please don't
Hersher's
say,
on contract until 2027.
That's good. He's good at hockey.
He's very good at hockey.
He's really good at hockey. He's actually probably their brightest point, right? That's like what everybody's... That's like where we were as teenagers with Marian Gaborik, or as children.
Sure, yeah. Holy fuck. I just saw something that's wild. They're still paying Ilya Kovalchuk.
Oh, yeah. I think for another 2 years.
Nope.
This is last year? How long?
2025 for the next 4 years.
Oh, that's fucked up. For those who don't know, Ilya Kovalchuk was a really good Russian player. We touched on it briefly in our second episode with the shitty microphone. But he was a very good, borderline great Russian sniper-esque guy, and they signed an illegal contract with him that was so long, and they had to buy it. They had to buy it out. And it's a whole shit show. It's cost them a ton of money.
Yeah. The initial contract was for 15 years. So I don't think they're actually paying this off.
Yeah.
I think they're paying off a penalty from it.
Oh, for being that fucking stupid.
Yeah. So 15
The NHL was like, fuck you. You suck at this.
Wait.
Who's
2010?
their,
No, I think they still are, actually, because they signed it in 2010. And it's it was initially a 15-year deal worth $100 million. So, yeah, they are still paying the original deal. It was only in
2010? I thought it was further ago than that. But
that's insane.
That's fucked up.
That's fun, though.
That's
Good
crazy.
For you guys.
He is now probably... Well, I guess Kaprizov came over, so maybe he's still the second or third best player in the KHL?
Kovalchuk?
Yeah.
Kovalchuk plays for... Who the fuck does he pay for?
Metalurg. You're thinking of Radulov?
No, I'm not.
Didn't he only come back for a year or some shit? Is he...
He's still in the league. I want to say he's with Montreal.
Okay, but that's what happened. That is, he went over to Russia, and he was there for 10 years.
I lied to you.
He plays in fucking on Avant-Garde.
Yes.
You son of a bitch.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You're
I'm sorry.
right.
I just hate it when I second guess myself.
I don't even think he is playing this year. Or is that season over? It's hard to tell.
I can't tell. The Russians are crazy.
Hey, now.
It's true. Sorry.
I think hockey is cool because it just kind of is, you know?
Is that it? Where were you going there?
I don't know. Shit. We'll edit that out.
No, I think you got to keep it now.
Oh, the Panthers traded.
Who'd they trade?
The Panthers traded for Lucas Wallmark and Lucas Carlson for a bunch of Lukes.
Who the fuck are any of those? Linus Allmark?
Lucas.
Who is Lucas Allmark?
I have no idea.
That's not a real trade, Corey.
It is a real trade.
Take it back. I know, but I'm saying it's not like a...
It's not relevant. I just was trying to find something to talk about, and I just Googled Florida Panthers.
Oh, still hanging on to it. You're not even gonna go to Florida. I thought that you would have worked this out of your system by now.
No, I think Florida seriously could. I think they'll make it past the first round.
You don't, do
I
you?
absolutely do.
Interesting. You want to make a bet?
Before we make a bet, I don't want it to be blind. I want you to have full disclosure.
Yeah.
This team has 56 points, and they're in second place in the Central. They have beat Carolina and Tampa Bay earlier in this season, and those are the only two teams that are ahead of them. I still think the Central is the closest.
Tampa Bay's a better. I'm happy to make that bet still. Do you remember when Gerard Gallant was their coach and they're like the Columbus Blue Jackets of the South? They're just not built for further rounds. Also, fuck Tortorella. He's fucking up everything about Liney. I'm going to say it again and again and again every
What
week.
does that have to do with Florida?
Nothing. I said they're like the Columbus Blue Jackets, and then I thought of Tortorella, whom I hate and is a horrible person and is fucking up everything about that team, and I hope he gets fired and never works again.
Yeah, Liney is definitely he's not as skilled as Alexander Ovechkin. He's not as fast as Alexander Ovechkin. But for somebody who can just get the puck and magically it just ends up in the back of the net.
He just puts it in the fucking net. He's like, okay, I'm a weird stoner Finnish dude, but I'm going to fucking put it in there. And it's gonna work.
Yeah, you just you don't care what happens. You just
I don't give a shit. Again, I really don't fucking care if he doesn't back check. It doesn't fucking matter. He might score 50 goals for you. You had fucking Rick Nash on Columbus for years.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever hit 50. He's not as explosive as Patrick Laine.
No, and the Jackets lost Werenski for sports hernia. Holy fuck.
Man, that's why hockey's dumb, though, just real quick, is that a fucking bitter, Napoleonic white man like John Tortorella, and is Paul Maurice still the coach of Winnipeg?
Yes. Yep.
And Paul Maurice, that both of those dudes can be, so self-righteously, we're old school, bullshit, and the teams follow it. I can't imagine being Winnipeg and getting Patrick Laine and being like, you know what, his attitude just doesn't vibe with me. It's crazy. It's why hockey's dumb. That's one of the reasons hockey is dumb, is because shit like that happens.
I completely agree. Quick note on Columbus: 2-8 in the last 10.
Good. Fuck them. Fucking burn Tortorella's house down.
They have only scored more. They haven't scored more than 4 goals in a long time.
Because they're treating their only fucking goal scorer like shit.
Yep, exactly.
He doesn't want to fucking play there. If the kid has to have fun to score 50 goals a year, let him have fun. Look at what Phil Jackson did with Dennis Rodman. He was like, do your shit.
Yep.
And he got the best defensive fucking player maybe ever in the history of the NBA.
It's true. Guy put up boards like nothing.
Rodman was like, I'm going to be wild. And he was like, I really don't care. Just don't get arrested. Let Patrick Laine smoke pot and watch cartoons or whatever he does.
Yeah. play Fortnite.
That's what he does. Yeah, he probably plays Fortnite. You're right. He's more...
Shit. Buffalo won 3 games, not in a row, but they've won 3 games in the last 10 games, and that's kind of...
Wow. That's pretty good for them. That's pretty good.
Good job, guys. I don't know. They won against the Devils and the Rangers and the Flyers, which is...
Flyers are the only good team in that 3 teams, and they're not that good.
I don't know. They're... Those are the 3 teams that are ahead of them in the standings, and all 4 of those teams aren't going to make it to the playoffs.
The Flyers aren't?
No.
For sure? I haven't looked at the East for a minute.
East is strange because when we first started this podcast, I was like, the most exciting hockey is in the East and da-da-da-da. And honestly, I don't believe that's true anymore.
Yeah, you lied.
I didn't lie. Boston might me and Emily's team, the Bruins, they lost their scoring knack, and it's kind of weird. I feel like I maybe curse them as like a Wild fan because they just can't score anymore. They are 5 points ahead of the Rangers in fourth place. They really, I don't know what their deal is. Just lack of depth in scoring or something. I don't know. I still think that they should go after Taylor Hall and get back in this shit, but what do I know?
You just
and then the North, fucking
all hard on
Canucks. Did you hear about that?
No. Oh, the are they like shut down for real?
They have 25 players and staff that have contracted a new variant of COVID.
Oh,
so
that's fucked up.
It is really fucked up. And
I had a sore throat the other day, and I got all panicky, but it was just because I smoked too many cigarettes because it was nice outside.
It's kind of weird too because the North went the longest without any real any breaks or anything, and it's kind of funny that like the Canucks, to me, I don't know, I always viewed like I feel like the Western Coast Canadian teams are so far away from like everything, but I suppose if you're like in Vancouver, it's kind of like an international city that has like a shit ton of people. Like
it is. Also, there's still some fucking dum-dums in Canada who like aren't good about shit.
There's dum-dums.
Did you read the thing? Have you? But I know. Did you read the thing? Who was the motherfucker? I saw it was in LSD, talking about somebody who said that they'd look into getting the vaccine after the season, and it was like an involved thing and whatever else. But I bet there's a number of dudes in the NHL who aren't getting the vaccination because they don't want better 5G internet or whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely, I completely agree. I just realized that leftist sports division is LSD, and I was like, I'm thinking about doing some of that for my birthday. That'd be fun.
Oh, okay, Corey. Sam doesn't do hallucinogens anymore because he got put in a straitjacket when he was 17. But I will save that story for later.
Holy shit! You've told me this, but it's
you've heard the story.
I feel like. If you don't mind, I would like to talk about drugs for a minute here.
Yeah, sure.
I was afraid of hallucinogens when I was younger because all my friends like tripped on Robitussin, and I hung out with like the people who
man, fucking first ring suburbs are fucked up places.
And I also hung out with like the group of kids that ate a bunch of bananas and saved the peels. And while they were fresh, because they still had to have all the vitamins in them, they put them in the oven at 280 degrees, because it was the lowest the oven would go, to slowly dry them out completely so you could grind them up and smoke them and get potassium high.
That's not real.
It's not real, and it didn't happen. But that my friends tried it. I hung out with like all these kids, and I just like kind of knew. Like, I would smoke weed a little bit, you know? That's all I did. I didn't even really like drinking when I was a kid. Yeah. But yeah, they turned out fine, but I was just like, I don't know. I don't feel like getting I don't know if I should get my eggs scrambled like that when I'm so young.
Yeah. Yeah. I have
And hold on one second.
No, that's
please.
horrible. That's crazy. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I honestly too, I feel like when you're young, you kind of are just like, oh, here's a huge bag of mushrooms. I'm going to eat them all. And you don't need to do that.
Absolutely. Until you learn the consequences of it, which are substantial. But yes, 100%.
So yeah, whenever the first time I took acid, I took a full hit. Second time, I was like, that was fun. I don't want to lose a whole day to a drug. So I'm going to take a half a hit. And you know what? That shit ruled. I woke up at 4 in the morning, watched the sunrise. I came down by 2, and I didn't lose any sleep for work the next day. It was great. You can do drugs right.
Sounds lovely. Sounds perfect. Yeah, you can do drugs right. And drugs are, like most things, really nice in moderation. I don't really know if I knew people who had, like, tried Robitussin. It was never really a thing. I think we had real drugs, you know? But I guess we didn't have enough real drugs, because I remember I hung out with some kids who got real into, they would harvest, apparently the poppies that are grown in Minnesota are not opium poppies, but they have some similar whatever inside of them to opium. And these kids would go through like nicer neighborhoods where they had nice poppies in the yard, and they would like stab the poppy bulb or whatever and squeeze out its little liquid onto a thing, which they would then like dry in the sun and snort. And they claimed that they got high. I didn't do it ever because it's weird. But then they all got latex poisoning.
Oh, sure.
They all lived. Everybody was fine. But they all got like horribly ill for like days on end. And it was all fucked up.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the kids that, like, did that were also, like, the kids when you were, like, in elementary school that were super into, like, science fiction, and they would be like, what if there was a potion to do this? And what if there was a potion for you to do this?
Yeah.
And then they realize that, like, a plant gets you high, and you're like, oh my god, what if I extract the seeds from this, my mom's garden?
The kid
grind
who
it
put
up
this
and...
together was that, but a junkie. I mean, probably not at 16 or whatever when he was doing it, but still on the way, you know?
Yeah.
You should... Corey's birthday's real soon, y'all.
In a month. It's soon in a month.
It's not... It's... Your birthday's... Fuck, am I wrong about your birthday? Is it not April?
It's May. It's May.
Fuck. Sorry.
It's May today minus 2 days.
Okay. May 7th, for those who don't know.
Who cannot subtract. I think we should do a real episode maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, let's touch base on it, because I have a little bit. I have to take Rita to the vet and spend all of my money.
All of your money.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't found a cheap vet in Chicago yet.
Shit.
So it's going to be expensive. It's fine. Yeah, Tuesday sounds lovely. Real quick, just to sneak it in, DMX passed. Oh, shit. Everybody should send some love that way. That's all I got.
All right. We will talk to you all soon.
Thanks, gang. Bye.
Bye-bye.